Hello and welcome to the Bodge Pod. I'm Bradley.
I'm Ollie.
And I'm Jack.
And today we have an omniverse full of topics as we have been away for a short period of time. Oliver, would you like to start us off?
Harry Shearer, one of the famous voice actors from the hit show The Simpsons, has left because of contract disputes. He voiced various different characters on the show, including Lenny, Reverend Lovejoy, and Ned Flanders.
Oh no.
Do you think they'll go through an apocalypse and go, oh hey Ned, bang, oh he's dead. Hey Reverend, bang, he's dead as well.
They'll go full Game of Thrones on everyone that he's voiced. Then again, the show's already dead. It was dead before it was announced that he left.
No, but it's still going. It's not as popular, but it's still going. If you watch the early stuff.
The really early stuff, no.
I've seen the pilot episodes that were really terrible.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
They were terribly animated. But they never aired those sorts of episodes ever on Sky One or on Channel 4. The channels that we watched The Simpsons in the UK. Yeah, it was only the ones that ran through the 90s period and early 2000s. The film was a must-see, even though we stopped watching The Simpsons around that time. And then
just before, and then everybody got back into it, and then really quickly got out of it.
Yeah. Though not very funny compared to a lot of cartoon series, is still highly entertaining. I think people forget that when they compare The Simpsons to Family Guy or South Park.
I find it easier to enjoy The Simpsons than any of those other cartoons.
The only reason I'm saying this is they only compare The Simpsons with those TV shows because it's not funny enough. Whereas people forget that they were actually, generally speaking, entertaining. Like, The Simpsons was an entertaining show.
Lots of things have been spawned from it as well. I mean, the creator of Adventure Time, for anybody that watches it, was inspired by The Simpsons to create Adventure Time.
I don't see the inspiration there, but
he got inspired because of the adult humour.
Things like South Park, Family Guy, and American Dad and things like that, they will very occasionally make me chuckle. With The Simpsons, I can actually just watch and enjoy. I don't necessarily need to laugh.
No.
Family Guy relies on using sketch comedy to fill up the writing that they couldn't be bothered to use in creating an actual story.
Yeah.
Which they're funny, but they're not coherent with the story.
And pretty much nothing has an effect on the actual world. There's nothing that happens in any of the episodes of, like, Family Guy that would really permanently affect the world. Like, every now and again they'll reference a previous episode, but everything kind of just resets at the end of the episode. Like in The Simpsons with the Gorge, they revisit that. You would see the ambulance from an old episode. Like, some of the things that happen in Simpsons are actually permanently changed, like Ned's wife dying. What was that? Stop shagging.
They're not shagging. Willie is just on my bum. I've got to get back to the podcast.
I cut him off.
You cut him off?
Yeah, I did.
He was going to come back.
Just for a minute. He'll call back. There he is.
Hello,
I'm back. Sorry about all of that. Right, where were we?
Well, we can move on to another topic, or if you've got any finishing remarks on that one.
I'm happy to move on.
Okay.
A trailer I recently watched for a Tom Clancy game, not The Division, which people that are listening to this may believe it is, it's for Tom Clancy's Siege, which, when watching the pre-alpha footage, which looks fucking awesome, the whole game centers around one team of terrorists or kidnappers or something holding out a certain area of a map, and they are the defenders. And then you have the attackers, which are like FBI or like the special forces that go in to rescue somebody or defuse something.
Hardline and Payday, what you're saying?
Not really. It's one group of four versus another group of four. One group is defending and one is attacking.
But you mentioned that one of them's like the police force.
Yeah, it's the police, the good guys, going in and saving somebody.
Oh,
the bad guys.
okay.
Like a SWAT team versus a gang of baddies with a hostage.
Yeah, every side has its plus. The attackers, they'll have superior technology, but I can imagine their firepower won't be as great. But from the trailer, it looked like they all have extremely good firepower. I haven't seen anything about the terrorist organization or the kidnappers or the gangsters or anything like that. I'd be quite interested to see their side of it, or if it's just a copy and paste, both sides are the same, only one's attacking and one's defending, which would be quite a cop-out.
Slightly different skins and that's it.
Yeah.
I would expect them to have different stuff for each side, otherwise they couldn't charge, 50 quid here for that. It's still overpriced.
Oh yeah, it's overpriced as shit.
On
But that's
PS2 it was about 30 quid a game. Upgraded to Xbox 360, it went from 40 to up to 40, and then 50, and then on the Xbox Ones and the next gen consoles and everything recently, the price point is between 50 and 60 pounds in England.
What new games on the PS2 did you buy?
I didn't buy games on the PS2. I was young. I got them as presents.
I
They
can
were
never really
usually around
tell.
£30 when they were new, though,
But
on the shelves in stores.
but then back then that was quite a lot.
Your mum and dad were contemplating about buying those sorts of games, even at that
Like,
price.
30 quid was definitely, like, the highest price for a thing that I could think of at the time. £20, bloody hell. £30?
I mean, the most expensive PS2 game I ever saw was like $39.99, which is fucking steep. Like stupidly steep.
What I find really annoying is, no matter the size or the quality of the game nowadays, everything is the same price.
Exactly. We could bring up The Order 1886. That game is supposed
Yeah.
to be really short.
4 to 6 hours, I think they said it was.
For 50
Yeah.
or so pounds?
And then The Witcher 3 comes out and it's exactly the same price. It's like Evolve. That's not 50, 60 quid's worth of game. Evolve, it's basically an arena shooter, 4 against 1. If you compare it to things like The Witcher and other games they've got 100 times more content and took a lot longer to actually make. Price put in compared to price on the shelf, like money put into the game and the size of the game and the amount of content you're getting. For a massive game like The Witcher 3, which has just come out by the way, you're paying 50 to 60 quid for it. Yeah, that's fine. But then a game called like Evolve comes out and that's not even a quarter of a big of a game, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The AAA games, they all tend to be around the same price with very little variations. Look at the indie game market though. Their price is based on what you'd expect to pay for it. And sometimes you can get way more for what you pay for. The video game market needs to be more based around that. The problem is you need to have a small group of people, well, I say small, like a group of 250 people. Before the game is released, they play it, and then they do a survey on the game of how much you'd expect to pay for it, and
You could be a fan of games like The Witcher and pay 50 quid happily, but then people who don't want to play that game, who aren't going to buy it, who would rather buy like FIFA or Evolve, which has got not even like a fifth of the content in comparison, but they're going to play it just as much.
it's
So it
designed...
justifies the price tag.
Yeah, it's designed for the people that like that sort of game. I mean, Evolve is kind of a step in a new direction. It's gonna be a clone of something else. It's gonna have origins. But there are gonna be people that go for that sort of genre. They go for 4-player co-op.
Yeah, I'm probably going to pay pretty much very close to retail for Witcher 3. However, I wouldn't even go anywhere near Evolve until it's like in the bargain bin.
Oh yeah, you set your priorities of what you like the most.
Yeah.
Like people who play FIFA.
I wouldn't pay 60 quid for a football game.
No, but people who play FIFA
5
and
quid,
mark
yeah.
that as,
But someone who's a FIFA fan, 50
They'll-
quid, fair
yeah,
enough.
they'll pay
Take
for it.
money. They charge full price for games that you then can spend more than that on microtransactions. With Mortal Kombat, like, pre-order for Goro, that's fair enough, but then when it comes out with, like, easy fatalities,
People actually stoop that low?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
but it's just the fact that they sell game-altering DLC from day one for
Yeah.
a full-priced game is atrocious.
Which brings up a topic that kind of links in with what you're saying, and we never actually mentioned this, about unfinished games nowadays. Back in the day, you would have the finished game.
In the day, you wouldn't have day one patch.
You would
Battlefront
actually
2.
unlock characters and new maps and new levels by completing the game,
Yeah.
instead of just buying them.
Then you have the PC was like the games consoles are now, where you buy a game and then you could buy DLC for it. Like there was DLC for Battlefront 2.
What was that?
There was DLC for Battlefront 2 on PC, but not on PS2 because it came fully
Finished.
fully finished on PS2.
Wow. As finished as they could get it.
Yeah, it's always as finished as they could get it. In the old days, like on NES or anything like that, what they do is because they wouldn't have time to test play it, so any bugs or stuff they had actually put in the manual as features in the game.
Right.
Like asteroids, if the screen starts flashing and does this, that would have been a glitch, but in the game they'd say it means you're in hyper super round. They have extra health and extra damage.
They spend twice as long on the games, and obviously they're much more. The complexity compared to Asteroid is absolutely astronomical. But the fact that some companies are lazy about it because they know they can patch things. Obviously, the games get delayed constantly nowadays because they want to make it the best game they possibly can.
Except franchises like Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty, where there's a higher demand.
There's the higher demand.
Yay!
Ubisoft are a bit here and there. They do have Assassin's Creed, which is a yearly thing now, which originally it wasn't.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
They just released the image of I forgot his name, the orc from World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I think I'm actually relieved they decided to go mostly CG. Like, if it was all live action, like, practical effects, it would have been awful. I don't think Blizzard actually has an in-house thing. I think they use a different company called something Wax. I can't remember what it's called. They actually make their cinematics for them.
Do you think that they have had their input into this? Because it looks very much like they have.
No idea. It might be them, or it might be a separate company that does CG for movies and not for cinematic trailers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's wearing what appears to be bear skin and a bare foot over his shoulder. That's pretty badass.
The closest thing I can think of, it might actually just be a bear or something, but Worgans are like werewolves.
I was just looking on Reddit for some interesting stuff, and I came across this. Spielberg wrote a sequel to E.T. A vicious alien named Kor-El has landed on Earth with his dutiful soldiers, chasing the distress signal sent by E.T., branded Zrek in the film. So his actual name in the film is called Zrek, with hopes to capture his enemy and claim glory for his people. A carnivorous pack of troublemakers, the aliens feast on nearby cattle as they hunt for the source of the beacon. For Elliot and Gertie and Michael, life hasn't been the same since Zrek exited their lives, with Mother Mary and boyfriend Dr. Keyes concerned that the kids will never be able to get over the loss of their long-fingered friend. Misinterpreting signs pointing to Zrek's return, Elliot and the gang race out.
Misinterpreting the description of long-fingered friend.
Long-fingered friend,
Elliot
hey?
Elliot and the gang race out into the forest for a reunion, only to find Kor-El, who doesn't believe that Zrek has left Earth for his home planet, imprisoning the group on board his ship. Kor-El questions and tortures Elliot, forcing the boy to cry out for his beloved pal, who hears the call on the other side of the cosmos.
Because they're connected with their finger
Exactly.
phones.
So, upon reading it, when I first saw it, my initial reaction was like, what? From the other side of the cosmos?
It sounds like if they made it a sequel, it would have been the lesser of the two. It would have been like, oh, do you remember that sequel that they brought out?
And Bradley mentioned to me that E.T. is technically in the Star Wars universe.
I'm surprised Jack doesn't know this, but in episode 1, in the council, a vote of no confidence is called, and in a corner you can see the E.T. aliens. They've got their own little pod thing, and they're all waving their arms about.
They're known as Azogians. Wikipedia. They're listed as Azogians.
So that's why, well, he was confused at first when he saw one of the boys was dressed up as Yoda. Yeah, there was that scene where he's like, what? Yoda? Holy shit.
They're indigenous to Brodo-Azogi. I'm assuming that's the home planet.
So they're actually canon.
It even goes into as much detail as even saying what their typical eating utensils are, which are grub sticks, which are basically just chopsticks.
Oh. Oliver has announced to us that
he's
he
gay.
Is transgender. I was going to say transgender.
Yeah, that happened.
On to our next subject.
You know, you were saying about E.T. being confused when he saw the boy, like with the Yoda thing.
Yeah.
It actually mentions on here
exactly.
about him being confused because he saw a species that was familiar. But it also says that it's most likely that E.T. is probably not meant to be taking his Star Wars canon. It was literally just a promise as an Easter egg because Yoda was an Easter egg in E.T.
Yeah, I mean, there's Star Wars figurines that are in E.T. and there's bits here and there that hint towards
it. But that would make no sense that Star Wars is actually canon. The Supergirl trailer came out, and it's a really long trailer, which pretty much just sums up the pilot episode. And the start of it's really good, right?
Oh, right.
It's talking about, you may know about my cousin. Kal-El. You don't know mine. And it's all interesting because it's something that comic book fans would be interested in. And then it just cuts to when she's on Earth and she's older and she works for this like fashion agency. And I'm just like, what the is this a romantic comedy or a superhero TV show? It felt like Devil Wears Prada or 13 Going on 30 and it's the same old romantic comedy cliches. It reminded me of that SNL spoof of Black Widow going out with Ultron. She's having troubles with her love life, whatever. Yeah, it was funny. That's what it felt like. There were some cool action scenes. The CGI looks good for a TV budget, and I'll probably end up watching it at some point. But I'm totally skipping out the romantic comedy parts. I'm not sitting through that bullshit.
You can't skip out the romantic comedy because the romantic comedy is going to be intertwined to the action.
As a little bit of trivia into the Bodge Pod, I actually secretly muted myself and went for a wee during that last, so I missed half of that.
I also muted, so Oliver was just talking to himself just then.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And do what?
Oh.
Finger your asshole or something?
No, I didn't finger my asshole.
Or get fingered in your asshole.
Bodge Pod bonus, talk about my ass.
None of this will actually be on the actual podcast.
You were there talking to yourself. You'll be sat there listening to it going...
I sounded pretty interested. I don't know what these guys are talking about.
They weren't talking about nothing. They weren't even fucking there.
It was at this point that they stopped listening and Jack went for a piss and Bradley went to finger his missus.
And Ollie's just talking about a show that he's not going to watch. You really summed it up quite well.
Yeah.
Oh no, Ollie's going to talk. Oh.
So I've actually muted you guys and gone for like cups of tea before.
Oh, I know.
You don't like this, really.
He loves us.
I love it, and I totally listen to this podcast.
What happens before we record is I call everybody. You say, right, what topic's going to talk about?
That is a lie.
We list topics, and then we go, what order are we going to do it in?
Sit on Skype for half an hour waiting for you.
Yeah.
You eventually come online. We discuss topics that me and Ollie have already been speaking about for the last half an hour. Then we start. As a precursor to the E3 event, Nintendo are hosting the first Nintendo World Championships for like 20 years, 25 years, since there was the last one.
Yeah.
I read a tweet from someone who said they were like breaking out the SNES or something in practice.
Is there anything you guys want to be there? I mean, Division has got to be there.
I'm quite looking forward to seeing if there's anything from the game Hellraid.
Yeah.
It's from the same people who made Dead Island and Dying Light.
Yeah,
Dying Light was apparently a disappointment.
It was kind of... At first it wasn't, and then once people started getting to the end game, initially it's quite good, and then it becomes quite crap. The whole parkour day-night thing was cool at first, but then once you get into the meat of the game, like the story and the characters and the character animations and stuff like that, the game just falls apart.
So the next game is less hopeful, now that you say that.
Yeah, I think if they were to make a Dying Light 2, they'd have to change quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Dead Island 2 as it's being made by a completely different studio.
It does look quite cool.
It looks a lot better than the first one.
Have you heard of a game? I don't know when it's coming out, and they probably won't show anything surrounding that game at E3 because it'll probably come out before. A game called Hatred. Do you think people should draw a line when it comes to video game violence?
I don't think there needs to be a line drawn in video game violence because it's not real. It's not real at all. I mean, look at Mortal Kombat. I've looked at some of the fatalities and it is extremely violent.
I would have been completely desensitized from video game violence until I saw the fatalities from Mortal Kombat 10. They actually made me sick at some points.
Yeah, they're very much like they really have stepped it up.
The one that got me was where he throws the hat into the ground and it's still spinning, and he just pushes their head down into the thing and it nicks
That's
their
nothing
face.
In comparison to the Ermac fatality, where he twists your neck and your body in opposite directions, and then fucking pulls out your guts, right? And then meshes it into a ball and drops it.
It's just that the one where it cuts the face in half bothered me most because I have actually seen that video that went up online with the cartel thing and the guy gets his head chopped off.
Slice the face in half.
I'm quite looking forward to getting the game and playing as Jason because his fatality is he just raises his machete up in the air and it slices down and it sort of cuts half into them, takes it back out, carries on until he slices them in two.
I like his entrance in the game where he's got like this girl. His machete's
It's one of two. It's
Yeah.
It's one of two where he drags a girl with a machete in the head, or he just walks in, there's a knife in his neck, he just pulls it out and drops it.
He's badass.
And he doesn't say anything.
As corny as it is, and none of his moves are any particularly amazing, but I just enjoy.
Have you seen his how he runs in the game? It's quite funny because he's quite slow. But when you make him actually run, it's hilarious.
Considering he's never ever run in anything he's ever been.
Yeah, it's like a weird.
Is it just his walking animation?
Is it like a scuff?
It's a really exaggerated walk, like an ordinary generic walk where you swing your arms and everything.
Just takes big strides.
Big strides and big arm waving.
Machete waving.
I can't imagine Jason has a jump move either, because I can't see him jumping.
Apparently, if you do the right combos, he's really freaking hard to beat, though. If he gets a combo going.
Yeah, well, all I can imagine his moves are slash and slash
and punch
and punch and
maybe a kick.
I think he's
a kick.
I think he has a kick or two.
Very simple moves, but I mean, you're not gonna want to get in front of that. I mean,
you don't really get too much more than slashing. And I think one of the modes you can have doesn't even have a machete.
What if you hit him so hard in the face his mask comes off?
There's actually, as part of one of his fatalities, he actually takes his mask off and throws it into the ground, and you don't see his face though.
No, that's it. That's all that happens. And like after half of his health is gone, he lies on the floor. Then like an evil something happens. He gets
like a Frankenstein's monster or something.
Yeah, he gets struck by lightning, sits up again, and starts fighting again.
That was a reference to actually an old movie where someone digs up his grave, stabs him with a pole, and then lightning strikes the pole, and it revives him.
Oh.
He's got this special where if you kill him or take a good chunk of his health, it actually regenerates part of his health.
So he's pretty OP.
Hard to beat.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing Predator in the game and his attacks. I mean, we all know what his fatality is going to be anyway.
When is Predator scheduled to come out? Do you think they'll be saying something at E3?
Possibly. I mean...
That's a long time.
If that studio has anything else to reveal at E3.
I mean, nobody cares about the other two characters.
Street Fighter V just released a trailer for M. Bison.
Did it?
Yeah, M. Bison in the new game.
Cool. I must admit, I love Street Fighter, but it's gotten a bit old.
Well, it's gone in a different direction. I mean, I don't like the art style, and it got a bit too complex. Very anime comic book-esque.
I mean, the controls are exactly the same, essentially.
No, they don't introduce anything new, really, do they?
There's nothing really new. Every now and again they'll introduce new characters, but...
Killer Instinct did that. It's the exact same gameplay as the old games. They're not catching up with Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat does change the way it does some of the moves and gives different characters different moves, but Street Fighter and Killer Instinct, they've pretty much stuck to the same stuff. I don't know if Dead or Alive did that as well. I haven't played any of those games for a while, or Tekken.
Dead or Alive, they all stripped down to their underwear and went and played volleyball on a beach.
They're all 3D based fighting games, so they don't really count, to be honest. Michael Fassbender plays Apple founder in first Steve Jobs trailer. Did you guys see that?
No.
I pretty much just summed it up.
Right. Told his friend that they got $500 for a job, gave him $250, and his friend found out years later that they actually earned a lot more, and Steve Jobs ripped off one of his best friends.
Yeah.
I heard that recently.
That was in the film Jobs. It's like, we'll pay you $1,000, and then his friend asks, how much are we getting paid? $250. Nice! Not knowing that Jobs was paid $1,000.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that makes you go, he's a genius, but he's a dickhead.
Alright, I only just heard that recently. He's doing 100%
Samuel L. Jackson joins the Blob remake. That is the best news I've heard today now.
That is great.
That is absolutely great. Let's talk about that.
I haven't seen the original Blob, but still. I've had enough of this motherfucking Blob in my motherfucking movie theater.
If motherfucker's going to be in there, but let's estimate how many motherfuckers are going to be in that film. I reckon about 6.
If he doesn't say motherfucking Blob at least once in that movie, I think unless he has a minor role, he kind of ruins movies.
His minor role in Kingsman was a bit slightly over the top.
He's like, I'm tired of all this shit. I want to kill everybody.
Yeah, it's exactly that's his motives.
You guys have really weird accents or something.
Like you talk so funny.
He just doesn't work well in scenes where he's with Colin Firth. It's like those two are completely different people, like in terms of like in the acting world. It's so odd.
They really are.
Yeah.
Very different.
Like Samuel Jackson, I love the man, but he shouldn't be in every fucking film ever made. Whoa! What do you think of the new look of Yoshimitsu
Who?
in
Fuck is
Tekken?
that?
The ninja guy with the lightsaber samurai sword. Dude,
Uh,
he's got weird tentacles on his head all of a sudden. What the fuck have they done to him?
What's his name?
Yoshimitsu. Don't tell me you don't know Yoshimitsu. He's the guy that bounces on his sword and does the spins. Oh my god, have you guys played Tekken?
No.
No, alright, we'll move on then.
Any closing remarks? Right, I shall see you all.
We don't like you anymore.
Well,
Because you suck.
anyway.
Bye.